But I'll tell you what's really got me intrigued. For all of the negative news and all of the woe and doom that we hear every day, we have record earnings. In your life, companies have never made more money in the S&P than they have this year, ever in your lifetime. $102 of sheer cash profits. Stunning performance, remarkable. Even in an economy that has record unemployment, these companies have done it this way. They have figured out how to get their sales out of America. 47% of sales of the S&P are in foreign jurisdictions today with high GDP growth. And that's how they've been able to grow. In the coming year, the estimates are $115. That is an all-time record. Now, I'm not saying they'll get there. Maybe they'll get 110. Who knows? But the fact is, the underpinnings of the North American economy are absolutely fantastic. Strange to bring this message here, but the reason you care and the reason I look at it every day is rate hikes. That's what I'm worried about. When do they come? Because when rates go back up, I've lived through 3 rate hike cycles, sometimes they don't touch the sides on the way up. And in Canada, 100 basis point increase in mortgage rates for those that have variable mortgages, in my estimation, this is a personal estimation, 15 to 20% of the people who have variable rate mortgages will default. That's what's going to happen. That's going to be bad. And that's why Bernanke and Flaherty are freaking out, basically. They know the same thing. So my message to people with mortgages that are variable is lock in now. Nobody's listening because they're so attractive in variable rate mortgages, but it's very dangerous for, in my estimation, 20% of the market. So if you're an advisor to somebody that has a mortgage that's variable rate, they should be definitely thinking about the risk and asking themselves, if 100 basis points of increases came, could I sustain my home, my condo, my investment? And 2 out of 10 won't be able to do it. That's what I think. It's a significant challenge. Let's deal with this issue because Flaherty has made some remarkable proposals and implemented some changes now that have put a lot of pressure on this market, and I know it's a big, big debate. What is the actual effect of changing the amortization to 25 years? The actual effect is a 100 basis point increase in the cost of that person's home. That's what happened. You've changed the amortization period. That's basically it. You've made it more expensive. Now, you have to ask yourself, and there's lots of people trying to calculate this right now, when you do that, and of course, I don't really care about this rule, the majority of the market is not over $1 million. It's not the sweet spot. But it's there anyways. You know, the basic, well, it depends what city you're in, obviously, but this is not changing the demographics of the market dramatically. This is. If you looked at the rules today, and I've just finished about a year of studying this market, in my estimation, 15% of the people that got mortgages 24 months ago could not get them today as a result of rule changes. Some people think it's 20%. And why you would care about that, these are the exact same people that would be buying the starter home from somebody that wants to move up. They're not there anymore. Nobody will lend to them. And that's taken a lot of steam out of the market. Now you could argue, well, maybe that's a good thing because there'll be less defaults, but 55% of homes are financed with high ratio, under 20% down. So this has given a real big pressure point to the downside. Now why is Flaherty doing this? In my estimation, it's very simple. He's saying to himself, okay, let's take a market like Toronto. 63,000 condos coming on the market in the next 30 months with an average of 900 feet or less. 2-bedroom or single-bedroom with studio units. In a typical cycle every 7 years, which we haven't seen in 14, you could get up to a 30% correction in that market, which causes chaos, havoc, grown men are weeping, tremendous pain. He doesn't want to see that happen. It sounds frothy, but yet there's been no correction in the Toronto condo market. There's a little slowing in some of the properties. I watch this every day. There's so much capital tied up in these projects. There's a new one some of you have probably heard of. The old Four Seasons is getting converted into 550 square foot condos. You kind of live like a bat. You hang from the ceiling in there, and they're about 70% sold, $350,000 a unit. That's a very healthy development with fantastic returns because of its location. But my point is, if you're Flaherty, you're saying to yourself, in the history of the Canadian real estate market, we've never had that much inventory in one city, ever, ever. And this is by a quantum of 6 times. That's huge, and so he doesn't want to see it correct. So all of these pressure points that he's put on the market are to stop it from having a 30% correction. He'd probably be happy with a 15% correction, and so would everybody else. That would be a normal correction. It's painful, but it's not an economic trauma. Because he just watched in the last 4 years the damage that occurred to the US market when they had a 50% market correction in the majority of markets. That's why he's doing this, and he's not finished yet. But luckily, the Canadian market has taken these blows, and I know people are complaining about it, but so far, it's worked.